Breaking news out of Orlando suggests that we might finally be getting a brand new land to Islands of Adventure, which, of course, the most rumored land to be potentially taking place at Islands of Adventure is the Legend of Zelda. And today we have official permits that have been filed by Universal to suggest this might finally be happening. So thank you to Behind the Thrills on Twitter. They posted a screenshot of this permit, and it's showing a demolition of 4.9 acres of theme park site, including retail, show, attraction buildings, and associated utilities, pedestrian facilities, and access roadways. Now, there is no date on here in terms of when the permit is supposed to be for like when the actual demolition is going to take place, but 4.9 acres, and according to the permit itself, it is suggesting Islands of Adventure. Now, the interesting thing is that when you look at the plot of land that the Lost Continent currently takes up, and you leave out the health and services first aid buildings, as well as Mythos, which, of course, you have to leave out Mythos. They would have to find a way of just reincorporating that restaurant in some capacity. It is exactly 4.9 acres. Just kind of goes together with what everybody has been saying for a while now, that the most likely scenario for Islands of Adventure is to replace the Lost Continent with a new land. The question is when and what. But the fact that we have a permit that is now filed means that something is definitely coming soon. So let's talk about some options that Universal has to fill out this plot of land, because certainly after the opening of Epic Universe and them replacing Rip Ride Rockit, Islands of Adventure is the only one that is left without something brand new as of right now. So the question is, what can come? So there's a few different options. The most common rumor has been The Legend of Zelda, of course, now with Super Nintendo World at Epic Universe, along with the fact that we've seen there in one of the stores, there is the Zelda stained glass window that is suggesting that Zelda is the only Nintendo IP that isn't a part of Universal Orlando Resort just yet, because the other windows all reference the part of Super Nintendo World that is already there. Okay, so outside of Zelda, the other options, a lot of people have been talking about Wicked. That has been something that has been rumored quite a bit. The movie came out last year. You got part 2 of the movie coming out this year, and it's been incredibly popular. It's been, just taking over pop culture over the last year or so. So Wicked, it absolutely is a big IP that could be coming in. Another idea is just simply a Harry Potter expansion, expanding Hogsmeade. It is right there, right next to it. So you could just expand Hogsmeade and make it one gigantic Harry Potter land. Don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but it is geographically right there. It could make sense from that perspective. We also could see a Jurassic Park expansion. It is over by Jurassic Park as well. You could just simply expand it right out, right into the Lost Continent area. Again, I also don't think that that is going to happen. That doesn't make any sense either. Jurassic Park is a very strong part of the overall Islands of Adventure, in my opinion. They definitely have some things that they could work with, but I don't think that it needs to be expanded upon. I just think it needs to be refreshed in some certain areas. So then the question remains, of course, we're going to keep Mythos there. What comes? Zelda, Wicked, Hogsmeade, Jurassic Park. I mean, these are all ideas that could happen. They could do something completely brand new that nobody has been thinking about or speculating or rumoring. However, for this video, I'm going to go with the concept of it being Zelda, The Legend of Zelda coming to the Lost Continent plot of land. That's a big plot of land, 4.9 acres. It's a lot of space. So that is definitely enough room to just make a brand new, wonderful land at Islands of Adventure. The question is going to be, when does this happen though? Because as of right now, they just opened Epic Universe, and you've got Mark Woodbury, the CEO of the Universal Parks and Resorts, talking about how they've got lots of things planned right now for Epic Universe that's not super far away. They're working on attractions behind the scenes right now. So Epic Universe just opened. They've got things planned out right now. And then you go to Universal Studios Florida, and we've got Rip Ride Rockit that is currently under construction, being demolished. And we're trying to see what roller coaster is going to come in its place. There's a lot of rumors going around about a Ghostbusters, about Fast and Furious, which I think that's probably the most likely solution. And then, of course, in Universal Studios Hollywood, you've got Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift that is currently under construction and opening up next year. So you've got all of these things going on in different parks. So when is Universal going to be jumping onto the Lost Continent? I think it's going to be sooner than we think, and the reason for that is because the fact that they filed the permit. Now, again, there is no date on this permit just yet, but the fact that they filed the permit means that they are intending on doing something sooner rather than later in Islands of Adventure. So, with that being said, I don't think that we're going to see this start until next year, potentially later this year, but if they do take this plot of land and create a brand new world, a brand new land, I mean, Universal moves pretty quick once they start actually doing things, once they start their construction phase. So, I mean, it's September of 2025 right now. Depending on when they begin this and how complicated of a world it is, I mean, I could see a world where that opens up in 2027, which would be kind of crazy, that we would have a brand new and potentially, again, Legend of Zelda world at Islands of Adventure in 2027. Who knows? I mean, that's just speculation at this point. We have absolutely no clue, but that would be what I would think, depending on when they begin the construction, the demolition, and then starting to raise whatever they're building. I could see it being a 2027 release window. Now, the other thing to back up the concept of Universal going with a Legend of Zelda at Islands of Adventure is the fact that actually, as of today, when recording this, Universal and Nintendo have announced the new Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel. It is titled the Super Mario Galaxy Movie. So obviously the Super Mario Bros. Movie did exceptionally well. I think it did nearly $1 billion if it didn't just hit $1 billion. It did incredibly well in the box office. You've just opened up Super Nintendo World at Epic Universe, which is insanely popular and super, super well done. Of course, now you've got the new movie coming out. What I'm trying to say here is that Universal and Nintendo have a very good rapport at the moment. So it would make sense right now to make that move into putting The Legend of Zelda in at Islands of Adventure. Now the question is, if they did The Legend of Zelda, what would it look like? What are the different attractions that we could see here? Well, first and foremost, I think that it would be really awesome to theme this around Hyrule, right? It would make sense for it to be themed around Hyrule. I also think that it would make the most sense to have it be themed around the most recent iterations of The Legend of Zelda, which of course is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And you've also got Hyrule Warriors in there that have been within the last few years as well. I think that's the most, likely scenario, is to go with the most recent form of the IP that have been incredibly successful, selling millions of copies, and really, in my opinion, pushing Zelda into that new modern world where they took it into this open world style of gameplay, which is absolutely incredible. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time. It is absolutely insanely good. It would be, I think, perfect to theme this Legend of Zelda world around Hyrule in the new modern style of The Legend of Zelda. Now, this is a pretty big plot of land, so what could we see here in terms of attractions? I feel like we could at least see two separate attractions here. One, I could definitely see a roller coaster of some capacity. It'd be kind of cool if they could incorporate the glider in some capacity from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That'd be kind of neat if you could, make some sort of theming around that. And then I also think a dark ride of some capacity would make sense over here as well. A dark ride and a roller coaster. I think there's enough land here to do that. And then you got Mythos. You would probably re-theme Mythos around The Legend of Zelda as well, or just leave it by itself. I would like to see them re-theme it though. I will say I've never eaten there. I know it's absolutely amazing and I need to eat there. And that's like on my to-do list for the next time that I go to Islands of Adventure. I'm just super, super excited at the prospects for what this could be. And we've been talking about this for a long time now. So to finally see the permit, and of course, we don't know exactly if it's for the Lost Continent. It's just this permit definitely makes sense for it to be this plot of land. So keep that in mind. It's not confirmed that the Lost Continent exactly is getting taken away, but per the permit, it just makes sense for it to be the Lost Continent. Nothing else really coincides with this. So keep that in mind. This is all speculation, but it is exciting to talk about nonetheless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What is happening here? Do you think that the Lost Continent is getting taken out? Do you think The Legend of Zelda is coming in? When do you think it's going to happen, and what kind of attractions would you like to see there? I'm super excited. We'll see what happens. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content about Universal just like this, and I will see you in the next one.